with Paul Daner, Mark Salafo. Kick off the weekend, all right. It's the Growler Friday show. It's Dey Light.
All right, welcome into the latest edition of Dey Light. Paul Daner Jr. of The Athletic, Mark Salafo. What's going on?
It's good to be here. I'm excited. Another action-packed episode ahead of us.
It is another action-packed episode. We've got a lot to get to. There's things in the news. We are living a crazy life right now. I just got back from a little mini vacation. You've moved and you're going on another vacation. So we found one little square piece of time where we could cross like ships in the night and crank out a Dey Light for you, the listener, our loyal listener. What did we decide on? What did we decide? We were in the leader in the clubhouse right now.
Yeah, I think it was something weird. Growl Pals, maybe, or
the Prowlers. The Prowlers. I
still
still think the Prowlers is a little questionable, but we're still here for
a little creepy. Yeah,
but
that's how dedicated we are. We came to you guys. We got this episode, this free content out to you. You know, OTAs are going on, notable absences. That's always the storyline. It's where are the receivers? Where's Sheldon Rankins? Where's Trent Brown? And where is Paul Daner Jr.? That's the question. No one could stop talking about it. But you know what? You were here for Dey Light, and that's what's important.
I am. We had a few days. We went out. We hit up Colorado Springs and Denver. Cannot recommend enough. It's one of my favorite places on earth. It's awesome. We took our kids. There were lots of hikes. There was not as much complaining as you would have thought. I might have turned them into hikers, which was very exciting. So they saw mountains for the first time. They love all of them except for when you go up too high, like you do on Pikes Peak, and it's very cold. Not a big fan of the cold, but outside of that, thought it was really cool.
That's a real gamble too, because if they don't like hiking and you get to like the middle of that hike, you still got to get back down. And that's a lot of work for a kid throwing a tantrum at the top of a mountain.
But bottom line, can't recommend going out to Colorado enough if you I just love that part of the country. There's no question. But we got a lot to get to.
Bold endorsement of the entire state of Colorado. Hey, if you've never been,
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Go to Colorado.
So let's of course send your questions, and you guys drive this show. You tell us what you want. You guys have been doing that. The Growler Podcast at gmail.com. You can send those questions in. We'll go through them. Mark will go. You can send something for Mark to ambush me with. There's been a couple where we're killing Ambush Light this week because honestly, there wasn't anything really over the top, really what we were looking for this week.
Yeah, we want something crazy. We don't want something that's going to expose us to legal action. And we got one this week that's like, hey, how do I accost this guy at my gym? What tactics do I take to corner this fella and really ambush him? And that's not something we want to be party to, right? We don't want to be on the record as like, hey, go up and do this to that guy. And then it leads to some sort of altercation. So yeah, send us your questions that are going to be fun for me to put Paul on the spot with, not for, how you're going to handle personal issues in your life.
No, ambushing me with questions, not other people in public. Important differentiation on that segment. But of course, you can follow. Make sure you're following if you're listening now on YouTube. Hit the bell and follow, subscribe, all the things. We're there. You can watch us there and follow along. You'll get all of the alerts when a new show comes to you, as it tends to do here every Friday. So we got that for you. Of course, we've got a separate Growler Bites are up now. So if you just want to watch some of the best segments from all of our shows across every week, you can. The Dey Light, the Balds Don't Lie episode is up from earlier this week. It was myself, it was Mo Egger, and we discussed the Bengals Ring of Honor. A great conversation. I enjoy talking about that stuff. I think there was a lot of interesting points that Mo was making there too that were worth a listen. So go back and check that out and listen to him talk about how Dave Lapham needs to get in. And I think it was a pretty striking argument that you shouldn't have to vote him in, which is my teaser for that, but he should be in anyway. Of course, you know what we have to do though, Mark? We have to start in the same place. We need like some kind of a sounder that's like or a graphic that pops up of a contract that we signed to talk about Tee Higgins' contract every episode. It feels like we always end up here, but there's new development. You're not privy to all the new shit, man.
Yeah, he's the only receiver in football that doesn't get a new contract every day. There's just more guys getting paid and getting guaranteed money, and poor Tee Higgins is not one of those guys getting new deals.
Poor wouldn't be a word that I would use though just yet.
Not until he signs that. Then he's
it's
still poor.
21.8. It's just one. I've got a pen here. Just all you got to do, 21.8 mil. There it is. Might want to keep that one. So
did you see his sad podcast video thing that was circulating? I know you were in the mountains. I don't know if you've caught up on everything.
It made it all the way up there. Yeah, the sad podcast. I get it. I get it. Like, we all want to feel wanted by our first loves, right? By your first team, the one that chose you. You made your friends, you made your home. You wanted to be the player that plays the same place your whole career, and you feel like they didn't pick you, and that sucks and it hurts. You don't feel like you deserve that. Feel like you're better than that. I get 100% where he's coming from with that.
Yeah, but it's at the same time, it's like, do we really need the video of him with the sad music talking about it? That felt a little heavy-handed, a little much. The guy's still going to make $20 million playing football next year. Like, do we need the sad, like, I just wanted to, I thought this would be my forever home. I hope it is. And I get it. I'm with you. Like, he's a terrific player, but at the end of the day, it is a business. Like, these guys are going to take the best deals that come their way. They're not going to, cut the hometown team a little bit of a deal because they drafted him because he wants to stay there, or he could have. If he wants to take a below market deal, I'm sure that he could, but he's going to take what's best for him because at the end of the day, it is a business. So it felt a little too much. Like, I'm a huge Tee Higgins guy. If they sign him, great. But I don't need the sad videos of him looking like he's about to cry with the sad music behind it.
No, we're in vague tweet season 2. It's like the latest from Tee Higgins' Instagram is that, he's saying they don't tell me no, but I don't need the motivational quotes. I don't need the vague tweets that are probably about video games. Like, all the videos. I just look at me. I'm working out. Okay. Like, I don't really need all of, like, I trust that you are motivated. I trust that you're working out. I trust that it matters to you. That's cool. What I find more interesting about all this is what's happened lately is that this wide receiver market explosion, you don't need to be sad in your videos, T. You're going to make so much money. The market just keeps going up and more receivers get signed and they top each other and the guarantees go higher and the average annual value goes higher. And you've still got a bunch of other names out there. We've had Nico Collins and Jalen Waddle both went off this week. And you have huge numbers, massive guarantees, jumping on top of everybody. And with Waddle, you have a direct comp to a high-end number 2, right? If you're judging, is Tee Higgins a 1? Is he a 2? He's played with Jamar Chase. You have the same type of thing happen with Jalen Waddle. Your market continues to get set there. It just keeps going up. This is great. This is going to work out exactly how Tee Higgins should want it to work out. And the same for Jamar Chase, because it just keeps getting higher. It's just by the time next March comes and you toss in CeeDee Lamb, you toss in Justin Jefferson, you toss in all these, there's still more deals to come that are going to get made. And you are going to see your number by sitting back and going through this thing. It sucked for him. He's hated it. He's had to make sad videos. By going through all of that, it's going to make him tens of millions of dollars by waiting, probably.
Yeah, and good for him. He deserves it. I hope that he gets everything that he's looking for, even if it's not with Cincinnati. But you're right. I mean, were you surprised at all, though, by the Waddle deal since he still had like another year or 2 left? It seemed a little earlier. It wasn't on my radar as one of the ones that was going to pop.
Yeah, the guarantees were high, but you're right. So this is the interesting development. I think this is the least discussed interesting development of this. Everyone turns to T. When I wrote the 4-part series thing, a big part of it was that in the Chase deal aspect, you're talking about guys who were drafted in the first round and have a 5th-year option. There was, since the new CBA in 2011 changed the rookie wage scale structure and added that in, you'd only had 1 first-round receiver drafted, including, future Hall of Famers. that had ever gotten an extension before that 4th year, because teams were just utilizing that 5th-year option as leverage and pushing it down the road over and over again, right? Tavon Austin was the only one. A weird name for it to be when you consider all the other names that were out there. But now we have 2 from Jamar Chase's draft class of the top 3 receivers. Devonta Smith got a deal before the year 4 of his 5th-year option deal. And now you see Waddle. There's not hardly any precedent to this, but it's because everybody sees what's coming next. The wide receiver market ain't stopping anytime soon. The salary cap spike is going to continue with all this, so much more money coming in with gambling and TV deals that's coming down the line. Teams are now not seeing the advantage of waiting and taking advantage of the year-to-year leverage of that 5th-year option and just saying, screw it, man, we got to get in front of this. And so now you're seeing the Waddle, Devonta Smith, throw Penei Sewell in there, who got an extension for a lot of money because he was a top 10 pick there too. It's not just receivers that haven't gotten these. Hardly anybody. It was 19 out of 288 first-round picks got any kind of an extension before year 4. Teams just don't do it hardly ever. But now you're seeing a slew of them because I think the economics in the league are changing so quickly, which leads us to Jamar Chase. Does that open the Chase conversation back up to saying, you know what? Get in early on Chase if you can. He doesn't sound like he has much interest in that. He's sitting and waiting for Justin Jefferson's expected deal to get done so he can go over top of it. You got all kinds of weird stuff happening here financially, but I do think I'm open to a Chase deal potentially happening this year now because you're seeing the precedent has been broken on that this offseason with both Waddle and with Devonta Smith.
And the longer they wait, the more expensive it's just going to be. And I think Chase probably knows that too. So maybe that's going to definitely play into it. But for the people that wanted to keep both of them, even if that seemed like a pipe dream, at the start of last season, it's definitely gone now. Every day, every new deal that comes out, the money gets crazier and crazier. And it's going to make Tee Higgins a very rich football player. It's just not going to be in Cincinnati is what it's looking like.
No.
I don't know how they pay him.
They got to find a way. You know what they could do? I think they use all this TV money. No, not from NBC, not from ESPN, from the TVs at Paycor Stadium, the old TVs. This is the way. This is the way to fix all of this. So I couldn't help but this coming on my radar this week, as I even all the way up in the Rocky Mountains, I had to triple take because they're selling. As they're doing all these renovations at Paycor Stadium, they are selling the old televisions from the stadium to anybody that wants to show up with cash at the stadium this weekend. And so, because they're all getting all new technology. Here's the story. This is the recap from WHIO TV. WCPO's been all over this here locally. Whether you're looking on a piece of Paycor Stadium, just need a new television, you might want to head to the stadium this weekend. Just come on down, get yourself a TV. I mean, Hamilton County is selling gently used TVs. They've been inside Paycor Stadium for 2 decades.
Very gently used.
Gently used from Paycor Stadium as part of ongoing renovations. According to WCPO, the public sale takes place this Saturday. The price range for the TVs will be between $30 and $60. Here's the breakdown of the pricing: 24 to 39 inches for $30, all the way up to 56 to 85 inch TVs for $60. They were in working condition when they were removed from the walls of Paycor Stadium. So just know that. So no give backs. Okay. No remote controls, but you'll get a universal remote. So if you're interested, just bring cash at the exact amount of purchase to this. Show up holding. This feels like one giant trick to get a bunch of people holding cash to come into one place and then all be robbed.
Rob the old-fashioned way, not even like with concession prices or anything, just straight up mugged in a parking lot. I thought the Bengals were going to give me a TV.
Oh, it's the draw. All TVs must be picked up immediately by the buyer, who also bring their own loading help. No, we're not going to help you load anything. Bring some strong men and $60. Okay, let's do this old school style. This is like the stuff that Craigslist got in trouble for,
Yeah, this is like the Facebook marketplace of an Ocean's 11. You just need a crew and to show up at the parking lot, make off with all the Paycor Stadium TVs.
This isn't exactly how I get rid of my stuff in my house. I just free to a good home on the curb, come before one. And you do the exchange in like a weird BP parking lot. Or something like that. Here's the $20. Here's a puppy. I don't know.
You're selling puppies on Facebook
no,
Marketplace?
I'm not. I'm saying hypothetical puppy sales.
I got a puppy. Meet me at BP. Maybe that'll be next.
There's no question it's happened. There's no question it's happened somewhere.
Yeah, it is wild to me. It does feel like it feels like a fundraiser for a high school team that's trying to get to a tournament. They forego the car wash. They're just like, hey, let's sell some TVs from around the school. We'll give you the carts that we used to put them on, and then we'll raise enough money to go to state.
Don't sell the mic cart. They better not sell that mic cart now. That's too close to home.
If we're trying, you know what? Let's make it a full fundraising effort and just call it TVs for Tea, or just T with the 2 E's and then V, like TVs.
Yeah, there you go.
And then you get to pay what you want, right? Like that's the big move. Like I do this on the road as a stand-up. I've got merch that I sell after shows, and it's always pay what you want. So that way you get the drunk guy that wants to impress his girlfriend. He gives you $100, and then you get somebody that's a true fan, but they don't have as much cash. They give you a few bucks, whatever. You still, overall, you're going to make more money that way. So I would implement a pay what you want. All proceeds are going to go to the Tee Higgins deal. And let's see if we can just fundraise our way out of this, since we're such a poor football team that just can't afford to pay the sad receivers what they're owed.
I just can't wait for them to ever have to talk about the TV money again. And we have to wonder, is it the this TV money, or is it the actual, CBA revenue sharing TV money? So
they got new turf. Can they sell the new turf, the old turf?
The old turf. I've always wanted, I've always had my hand raised. Anytime I've covered any kind of team that has gotten new turf, I've always wanted to have old turf in my backyard. Even just give me like an end zone piece would be obviously ideal, but I'm willing to go with anything that has some yard lines and some hash marks on it to use for a cornhole board setup. You know what I mean? Where like your path is all artificial turf with like maybe a 20-yard line or something like that going right down the middle. It'd be pretty cool, right? I've always wanted that, but I've never been able to quite get my hands on it. So maybe this is my opportunity. I'm going to show up to the next OTA with $25 in cash, and I'm just going to go to the turf area and see if anybody will hand me some.
I just hope it's like an off-season tradition. It's just like the Paycor Stadium garage sale where you never know what they're going to sell. This year it's TVs. Maybe they'll sell you a little bit of turf. And next year, who knows what they're going to be selling for cheap.
Never know.
Just show up with cash in the parking lot and a crew in case you need to get it into your car somehow.
We need to get Josh Sneed come and do some garage sale bits from down there. That's what I'm saying. Let's get Cincy shirts involved. Let's get the toasters. 8 to 4 o'clock this weekend on Saturday. Show up to Gate D with your cash. That's where the robbers will be awaiting you. But make sure you bring a big, strong man to either lift the TV or fight off the robbers. Okay, so
bring protection just in case.
Yes, WCPO also reporting. Hey, if this goes well, might do it again. Don't look. Could be more TV sales coming your way. Apparently, the concept of donating them is a huge pain, and there's a lot of like red tape and timing, and that pushes it. It's apparently that was part of why it wasn't donated, because it's a very challenging thing, I guess, to go through that process rather than just, hey, show up on the curb, bring cash. So love it.
Yeah, especially if you're going to have a new stadium deal that you're asking for down the line. Like, what better way to appeal to voters than, hey, we hooked you up with all these TVs.
Yeah.
We scratch your back, you scratch our back. We raise taxes a smidge. Everybody's happy. You get to watch the games on your 85-inch TV from 15 years ago. How old are these TVs? They're not like super new, right?
I mean, I don't know how many were like they can't be originals. Maybe they're originals. Those things were some big old boys. Now they've changed over a couple of times. So it probably depends on that's what you're paying for. Which one are you getting? Are you getting the new? Or are you getting the old? Or are you getting? I don't know exactly which ones that they're getting. Just show up with cash and find out what you get. Is there at least like are there stripes on them? Can you get Ocho Cinco's in town? Can he go sign one? Like, can you make something happen? Can one of the 7th round, can Matt Lee, the 7th round center, go out and like shake some hands and lift a couple of TVs? Can we do it? Can you give
we
a
need a
little bit
photo
of
op.
effort? Yeah.
We need Chad Johnson down there, Ocho Cinco, get himself buying a TV and then have a current player helping him load it into the car. You need some sort of good. You can't just let content like that fall away. And I know we've given the Bengals some good content ideas before, but this has got to be up there too. Like, you guys got to do something with these TVs.
And I understand that donating's hard, but can we sell them for $1? Like, that's not how you get away with this stuff. Don't you sell things for $1 when you want to just like kind of be? Does it have to go for? Do you have to show up with $60 in cash?
I think maybe they're not all from Paycor. Maybe they've got like some staffers that are buying other cheap TVs off Facebook Marketplace for $20. Then they're going to sell them for $40 to the Bengals fans. And it really is just a money grab to make like $300.
I'm sorry. I irrationally love this story. I might show up to get one. I think I might do this Saturday. That'll be a thing I'm going to bring. I just want to see what's going on. I think I might have to head down there and check it out.
Can we not send a few growl pals in our name to like go secure some for the show?
Secure us a TV. We could hang it behind us in our backgrounds here on YouTube. We have an authentic Paycor tube TV from like 2001 or something like that. Like that's a relic you can really hold on to.
Yeah, so if you go down there and get Paul a TV or two, he'll let you ask a few questions on the show during the off season here. It's a nice little exchange, I think.
Oh, we should get to the questions. We've spent 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we have done. I mean, but I think that was a good. I had to get that off my chest. I've been sitting on that one.
Yeah, it's bothered you all across the Rocky Mountains. We did get some good questions. Keep sending them to thegrowlerpodcast@gmail.com. Before we dive into the mailbag, I did have a question for you. And I was curious about this week. You often have talked about how you grew up a Bengals fan, but now you're a fan of Paul Dehner Jr. You're a fan of what works best for you. So what is your ideal scenario for this offseason? Like, what is going to be the best for you and your traffic numbers over at The Athletic, for your podcasts here? What storyline are you rooting for the most? Is it, a Tee Higgins deal out of nowhere? Is it some player threatening not to play and holding out? Is it, God forbid, an injury or something like that? What is going to be the best for you this offseason?
The off season, like the rest of the way?
Yeah, for like the next month, the next couple months. What's going to help you?
For me, for the next couple of months is that nothing happens. It is the most boring team. They don't do anything. Everyone's quiet. We can take vacation. We can get away because stuff is going to happen. They are going to be interesting the moment people start showing up for camp. Okay,
so you don't need like a kicker.
I'd like them to all go away and not get in trouble and just go about their business, have their little vacation so we can have ours. And that's the problem. So the NFLPA is talking about switching up, when players report and basically taking that spring session that we're in now with, the mandatory mini camp at the ramp, basically turning into a glorified ramp up time and putting that in that July zone before camp as more of a ramp up into camp and giving the whole off season totally off, which is fine, except stuff happens all the way through the draft. And, there's only so many times. It's about a 2-month period where kids are out of school and everybody that's a part of the team, works in the NFL, covers the league, can get away because there's nothing really going on. Well, if you take away half of that now, you're killing the possibility for people to get away. And that time is important. I'm not speaking just for me. I'm speaking for me because I experience it. But like that's everybody that works in the NFL at all, including from coaches and staff to your marketing people and whoever. All of those people will be affected by that. So I don't think I don't think anybody will like it if they change to that. But for me, this time of year is all about quiet. It's nice and quiet. No need for any craziness here. But once the season starts, bring all the interest, bring all the storylines, bring the signings, bring the cuts, bring the wins, bring the drama. Let's go. Right.
So you're not rooting for
Evan
McPherson to give a controversial commencement speech where he, makes headlines for telling women to go into the kitchen or something like that.
I'd probably let's just say I don't know that I even want to be reading any transcripts of anybody's commencement speeches at this point. It's like, if it's bad enough that it shows up on my front door, then so be it. But
Nobody even pays attention at commencement to the commencement speaker. None of those kids care. Nobody's listening to that. They're all hungover. Yeah. All right, let's dive into this mailbag. Here we go. First question this week is from Tony. Both Mark and Paul have been talking about their coaching experience in youth sports. So what is one thing the Bengals could learn from each of you as a coach? I know this was a big coaching season for you. I've coached for a number of years. Here's what I would say is when you're coaching youth sports, the most important thing is drinks and snacks. And I think that goes across all sports. Bengals have that F- in nutrition. They need to up their food game and start giving the players everything they need from a drinks and snacks standpoint. Take care of the media. Make sure that they get everything that they need from the drinks and snacks. Everybody's happier with drinks and snacks. So just make sure that's top notch.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Snacks. That's when our breakdown at the end of our baseball games this year was 1, 2, 3 Eagles, 4, 5, 6 snacks. That's how we broke down after any game because it made that's what the focus was. And I think I'm with you. I think they need to put more focus into their snack situation. And you know what? The Glizzies at halftime, right? Or that was a big deal a couple years ago. The Glizzy Gobbler, right? I mean, let's go back. Let's go back and let's get more focus on the halftime snacks. The Uncrustables. I think they need to double their orders of Uncrustables at halftime. Get that going. So I think there's a lot of different directions you can go. But I think I'm with you. Anybody that is coached youth sports knows that a higher focus on snacks is always going to make everybody happier.
Our next question is from Robert. The Bengals are a little bit thin depth-wise, cornerback and running back. Do you think that they should consider signing Dalvin Cook? He's getting up there in age, but he's got very little tread on the tires as of late. He could be a solid running back committee with Brown and Cook. So with Brown, Cook, and Moss together, do you think that there's going to be any interest in Dalvin Cook?
I do not. That would be a bad idea. They should not do that.
Why not?
Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook. How'd that work out for the Jets? I mean, they let him go and just like, hey, I don't know. Is anybody that's still playing want him? I mean, it's over. It's okay for it to be over. A great run. Like Dalvin Cook, much respect to his career. It's over. They don't need it right now. Not him.
Is there another running back you think that would make sense? Or are you good with just Moss and Brown?
I should have stopped in and tried to find Samaje Perine when I was in Denver, but I still think there's a good chance that he gets let go by Denver, who has looks like he could be on the outside of their group come final cuts or whenever. I think there's a still chance for him. You still got a guy like Jared McKinnon sitting out there, guys that would be more in that third down back role. I think would be more that Dalvin Cook there's no reason. And I wouldn't worry about, they have more depth there now with running an actual combo and having two guys like Brown who you're really excited about and Zach Moss, who's a really proven player right now at this point where you can sustain an injury or two and still feel okay. I think there's one more coming. I don't think a guy like Dalvin Cook is the direction they should be looking.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. Our next question is from Natasha from Hawaii.
Yes.
Give me the aloha there.
Natasha B.
Goes way back. She's going to her first Bengals home game of the Joe Burrow era in week 3. First time staying in Cincinnati. So she says, please tell me what I need to know. What are the best lead up to game day activities or events? What do I need to know for day of and what to expect at the stadium or best concessions? She's got really high hopes for a memorable Bengal fan experience. I would say like pregame, maybe the Growler's got a live show that she can go to, like a Growler, the Growl Pals. I don't know where they're going to congregate before games, but I feel like that's got to be her first stop.
Yeah, I mean, if we've got anything going on, she is more than welcome to show up, ask questions, hang out. We'll make sure that she is a VIP the moment she walks into the door, because Natasha B is an absolute live room legend in Hawaii. Before games, the Banks is such a fun scene. It's really hard to go wrong down there. I mean, anywhere you can go, and you're Natasha B. You can go into anybody's tailgate and let them know who you are. your live room fame. And I don't think you'll have any problem having everybody is throwing drinks at you who would love to talk to you about your history and just tell me more about Hawaii. So I think you live it up there. The Banks is strong. I can't tell you much about best concessions. I haven't lived that life as much. But I think that, you'll be good. You'll be good. Go and just say who you are. And that's all you need. Everybody will just be so happy to have met you.
Yeah, and also just keep it simple with the concessions. If you're coming from Hawaii and it's your first time staying in Cincinnati, just get the skyline and just, keep it simple. There's no sense in really going over the top with it or trying to get too cute. Just take the playbook that you laid out and she's going to have a great time. I feel like that's just locked in. She also had a suggestion for the groupies of the podcast, which I don't know that we necessarily declare them groupies, but are super fans as the drinkers. I know you're not that kind of growlers, but you do get a play on the word, and they're drinking in all of what we do. So how do you feel about the drinkers?
I don't want to pigeonhole everyone into, just that's what they do. I mean, I feel like I have no problem with people who aren't drinkers, right? Like it's great. I mean, you're going to have a harder time listening to us sober. But I mean, I appreciate everyone that is listening. I don't want to pigeonhole people into just one life choice. Okay. We're here for absolutely everyone, whether you drink, the Athletic non-alcoholic or you drink Miller Lite,
whatever. Yeah.
The Cohatch studio.
Or whether you drink Dey Light, we're open to everybody.
Right.
Growl pals, have many different interests. Moving along, this next one's from Stan. Travis Kelce has a reboot of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? It's basically celebrities helping a contestant answer elementary school questions. If you had to pick a Bengals player to help you on this show, who are you going to take?
So I've got a couple from the past, and I'll have one. I'm starting with Trey Hopkins, who was the most well-read Bengal I've ever come across. I mean, he could absolutely talk to you about anything that you wanted, any topic. Incredibly smart dude. And when it comes to, the stuff that you'd want to know, be smarter than a fifth, like just anything that's in any book, I feel like Trey has knocked it out. He's the first name that I thought of. Mike Thomas, the safety, from Stanford, and he is NFLPA executive board. We always joke that whatever he wants to do in life, he will do and be successful at. He's just one of those people who's just wildly smart, charismatic, you name it. And you just feel like, give me the Stanford educated, like wildly smart dude. And I think we can probably knock out some fifth grader stuff. Current team. So I'm thinking, you're going back to fifth grade. We should probably find somebody who's younger. Maybe it's a little bit more in recent memory. I'm going with second round pick Chris Jenkins. Okay. Michigan, super smart, charismatic. And here's the other thing. Look, if it doesn't go well, he'll put on a fun show and everyone will laugh along with him and won't care about any of it anyway. Make us look good by being fun or being funny. So I feel like I'm going with Chris Jenkins to on the current team amongst the youngs, amongst the rookies, to be my partner.
Yeah, I think that would probably take you pretty far. If it's me, maybe go with Yoshi. The guy went to Princeton, Ivy League education, right? Like He's got to be smarter than a fifth grader. But I think that the best way to go here is just taking Joe Burrow. Because here's the thing, his star power that he's going to bring to this show is going to ensure that they're going to just throw up these softball questions. You're going to have producers feeding him answers. Like, they're not going to let Joe Burrow look stupid on TV. They're not going to let him look worse than a fifth grader. They're going to cook it just to make him look better. So that's who I would take.
I mean, I understand Joe Burrow going on the New Heights podcast. If Joe Burrow showed up on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader with Kelce, man, he is really showing his relationship, how good of friends he is apparently with Travis Kelce, more than we realized.
Maybe
could you imagine being a producer for that show? Like, we landed who? We got Burrow?
Yeah, that would be insane. But you know what? Maybe Joe's just doing his part for the TV campaign, and he's going to start doing TV shows to try and earn a few extra bucks to keep Higgins as a Bengal.
He's going to be trying to sell Paycor TVs to fifth graders is what he's going to be trying to do.
I think it could work.
All right, let's take the second here to do what we do every single week here on Dey Light, and let's talk to you about our guy Eric Stanio. You know already, he's one of us. He's a Growl pal, if you will. Number one real estate YouTube channel in Cincinnati at Team Stanio. That's Team SZTANYO. Back-to-back years, he is the number one team for production in the Keller Williams Advisors Office. Find your home, strengthen your family, join the Stanio Clanyo. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram at eStanio. And of course, if you are looking to buy or sell a home or install a urinal on any level, email us, email directly info@teamstanio.com or go to www.teamstanio.com to connect. Our guy, he'll be back next week. I'm sure he'll have another good question. These questions have been good. They keep me on my toes.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing his own ambush section, but I like it. I like that we've got a listener that also advertises on the show. I like keeping it in the Growl Pal community and supporting one of our own. So, if you need his help, it's a big home buying and selling season. You can reach out to our dude. And we've got homework. That's our next topic here, right?
We do have homework.
You ready for homework?
It's homework time. Let's do it.
So
Let's go.
Let me set the stage here for what we're going to talk about. I was at the comedy club in St. Louis, the Funny Bone, back in April. And we had some Growler fans there, some Growl pals in the front row, all decked out in Bengals gear. And I mentioned the podcast about 3/4 of the way through the show. They start cheering, hooting, going nuts. And then we do a little crowd work with some of the audience to find out who do they root for in St. Louis. Their team left. So what happened to those fans? And some of them decided to pick up new teams. One guy was a Browns fan because he wanted the worst team. He didn't want to be accused of being a bandwagon fan. There was another guy there who became a Buffalo Bills fan. And even though that'd be easier to call him a bandwagon fan, he had the proof that he went through all the trials and tribulations. He did the table dive that the Bills fans do. So he felt that was his way of kind of jumping into that fan base. And that led to our topic that we've had, which is what would a Cincinnati Bengals initiation look like for if you wanted to jump onto the bandwagon? You see the Bengals, they've gone to the Super Bowl. They're in that Joe Burrow era. They're one of the top teams every season, anytime he's healthy. So the bandwagon fans are coming out. How do they officially get past that barrier? What are the initiation rites they would have to do? That was the homework. That was what we tasked everybody. Ours that we had a few general ideas that first episode or two that we talked about this. I think I like shotgunning a can of Skyline was one. You vetoed a couple that were, again, dangerous and could open us to litigation, like diving into the Ohio River. We don't need any of that. But you guys came through. We've got some good ones here. So you ready to dive into these?
I am.
All right. So the first one's from Tony, and he wants to go back to the Skyline well, which is a common one. But I like the twist that he put on it. He's got two different versions. Maybe you slip and slide into a Skyline chili three-way, or you have to do a touchdown catch with a coney and then finish with your favorite Ocho Cinco celebration. How do you feel about those?
I don't know. I mean, where slip and slide into a single plate?
I'm imagining it's chili throughout the whole slip and slide, right? It's got you're really paying your entrance.
It's
here.
just a lot of chili. I feel like you need to have a mass baptism. I mean, that's a lot of setup. Like,
for one guy,
someone else is getting baptized. I don't need that kind of work. Okay, I just feel like we need to focus on something that's not. Look, it's this person with the Bills thing, right? Bring your table, light it on fire, and jump through it. Okay, the end, right? This is now. I've got to access that much chili and create a slip and slide situation. It seems like a lot of work. The TD.
What about catching the football? Yeah, that's a little bit more dramatic. It's all over you.
Yeah, I guess it's certainly better than the slip and slide situation.
Well, here's one of my favorites. This is from David. His was just eat at 5 different chili restaurants. That's it. Like, that's something you could just do on accident and just, I'm a Bengals fan now because I love chili.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do. I mean, look, you're a Bills fan now because you jumped through a table. Like, what does it have to do with anything necessarily? I mean, the idea of connecting it to the team specifically it's almost unnecessary at times. So yeah, I'll buy that.
So I like this one from Matt here because he talks about how like the Bills, it's a body sacrificing thing. So like there's a lot of personal injury risk there, but it's more about crowd observation and enjoyment and being a citywide tradition. And you feel proud of that. So he thinks that you should, if you're going to try and break into the fan base, you got to memorize the Who Dey chant and lead a loud public chant somewhere that is not the stadium. I feel like that's a little bit more accessible. You know, you got to be bold, go up to some strangers and try and fire up that Who Dey chant for the first time.
I like that. So there's another one coming earlier that I saw where they're in this zone. Okay. I like the idea of some sort of a public Who Dey, whether it's the song, whether it's eliciting other people to yell Who Dey. Like, I think that's that's something that should be leaned into. Be a public leading of a certain number of people have to be involved in singing it with you. I think you've got a chance there.
Yeah, that's got some potential. This one's from Scott. His suggestion is that you have to burn any other team's gear in front of a crowd of true Bengals fans. Now we're getting the fire back involved, and you have to buy something from another team's fan base, I guess.
I don't want to publicly support lighting things on fire around other people or in public places. Like I don't want this to come back to us. Okay. But yeah, I mean, fire, it's not awful. Maybe you could have again, it opens itself up to the mass baptism situation. You could have, a barrel, right? Do it. Let's do it that style, right? Let's just light everything up in the barrel and throw whatever jerseys you want into and say something about Bengals history while you drop it in, and somehow you're baptized at that point. It's not terrible either.
The next one's from Adam. He suggests that a new Bengals fan should have to wear the jersey of an old busted draft pick and do the icky shuffle on top of a table at a tailgate. So, you know, wearing your Klingler jersey, doing it, and then everybody could tell you their stories about having to watch that player and what it was like being a fan during that era. And you've got to kind of listen to all of that too. So it kind of combines a few different ideas that we've had before.
I like this. Show up at a full tailgate and just listen to people talk about David Klingler to you. Like that's the kind of thing that really does put you in, because that's what you're trying to show to the current Bengal bandwagon fan, is that, look, hasn't always been nice around here. You want to hear about it? People have a lot of stories to tell you about how bad it was. I think any of the worst players from the 90s, the biggest busted picks, you could take a collection of any of the first round picks from that era, put on that jersey and have to go hang out at a tailgate and talk about that person, or hear stories about that person. I think that could certainly play. And then at the end, I think you should have to stand up and give a little bit of a speech about that jersey that you're wearing to everybody.
Yeah, what you've learned from, your initiation, what you can carry forward.
And then throw it into the barrel of fire.
Now we're talking. We've got the fire back.
Let's
on.
Combine things. There we go.
I feel like that's got to be it. Like, we've got a current leader in the clubhouse for a lot of things. We did get one other one that I thought was interesting, and this was from Ben. He wanted to have a foundation where you to become a fan, you have to teach youth 13 or under about the Bengals and like take them to mini camp, get them a jersey. So it's like a big brother, big sister program for Bengals fans. That just sounds like a cool idea. That just sounds like something that should exist, and not even for the bandwagon fan initiation. That should just be like a fun thing to help a kid that doesn't get to go to a game, or, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Big brothers, big sisters exists in the city. You should join it. If that's a good idea. More people should definitely be doing stuff like that. I totally agree.
Yeah. You can have a free,
nothing to do with being a bandwagon fan. Just being a good person.
Don't join Big Brothers, Big Sisters and think like, all right, here's the fire in the barrel part. That is just go be a good person, resist the fire at that point.
Resist the fire, be good. Love it. All right. Speaking of workshopping, you are still on the road, right? Comment. You got some shows coming up. You're gonna be making the Carolina swing soon, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, dude. I want to plug Asheville, June 13th. I'm coming there. That's going to be a big show. And then I'm going to Charleston, South Carolina, June 14th and 15th, a new club that just opened up. One of my favorite cities to tour in. I love Charleston. So go to those shows. We'll come talk about football and Paul's controversial FPI takes. And then I'm back
talk
in
about
Asheville
Carlos
on my way back.
Dunlap, pride of Charleston, South Carolina. Carlos
Yeah, that's a good point. And there's a lot of cool people from Charleston or that live in Charleston. Danny McBride lives in Charleston now. Chris Mack, a big Bengals fan, lives in Charleston. So, there are some Bengals people in Charleston. You guys can come out to those shows. And then back in Asheville on Father's Day on June 16th. So that'll be another fun show. It's tricky for me. And I mean, maybe you're the same way. So how was this trip for you? You just went on a family trip. Yeah. I've got a family trip coming up. Is that a tough gear for you to shift into when you're used to traveling alone, staying in a hotel room alone? That travel is a lot more luxurious than all of a sudden you've got wife and kids and bags and everyone to manage. I mean, how is that shifting into that gear?
Oh, it's very different. But I mean, I really despise the solo travel scene. Like, it's very long and lonely. Don't spend too much time in your own thoughts. It gets a little too. I don't need that. Right. I enjoy any time I get to see my kids see something for the first time. It makes carrying the car seat bag and my bag and holding the Elsa and Anna suitcase in my left hand and my hand in my right and lugging it through the Denver airport. It makes it worth it to watch them like see a mountain for the first time or, put their hands into one of the like creeks going by because they can't believe how it's like coming around this corner or whatever. Like that stuff is super cool. Or just see their face when they see the hotel pool is way bigger than they thought it was going to be or that they've been at before. So that stuff, like that's way better than had a nice dinner at the yard house down in the lobby. You know what I mean? And granted, you're on the road. Usually you're meeting up with somebody, whether it's media or wherever. But like, still, it can get a little. I don't know. I much prefer needless to say, I much prefer this than the solitude of the work trips.
Yeah, there can be a lot of solitude for sure. The method of travel is what I'm worried about because we're driving 12 hours to Florida. And we've done like it. You're right. Like when your kids see something for the first time, then when they see the ocean, even if they haven't seen it for a year, 2 years, whatever, that look makes the drive worth it. Now the drive is still brutal. I was flying last week. I'm going from a first class flight last week to 12 hours in the car with 3 kids. We did a spring break trip to DC and the toddler just wanted to listen to Kung Fu fighting on repeat. Like we're talking about hours just to keep her, from throwing huge tantrums that ruin the trip for everybody else. So you've got to pick your poison on that. And hopefully we're going to have a Kung Fu fighting free trip to Florida.
You can only hope. We're talking a lot about kids. We can dad life this. We actually had a dad life question this week that I liked. It was, let's see, from David. He said, obviously, it sounds like, I don't know if there was some preamble to this about him becoming a dad for the first time, but his question was, what do they not warn you about with your wife having your first child? No answers like lack of sleep, a placenta, or perennial tears. I have one that's not, I feel like there's people they expect to hear some kind of negativity here about, we're going to tell you about how hard it really is. Here's the real. I have the opposite. I have a little bit of a shinier view answer to this.
Okay.
And that is what I remember learning after having our first child was that there is this community of parents that are here for you. Okay. Like, people everywhere. It was like I saw the world differently, not because I'm seeing it thinking about kids. I see everywhere her parents who are like, how can I help? Or you need something? Let me tell you what other parents really want to do. Do you want some of our old shit? Because we'd love to give it to you, right? Everybody's got a helping hand. Everybody, wherever you go, if you need a door here or that there, it's like I never noticed that or saw that connection happening around me, even though it was always happening around me in the world. You never really saw it until you were part of it. You realize, man, so many people are here to help. And you're the same way because it's just like this shared experience of the whole takes a village. Like everybody takes that so seriously. And it kind of blew my mind at first about, wow, this is unbelievable how many other people are like here. And now it becomes like, it's kind of almost like a parents against the world thing happening out here that I didn't even know existed when I was just a single non-parent. It's kind of wild. I didn't even realize how adversarial it was trying to keep our kids safe and on the right track. So that kind of blew my mind. That's one thing that I remember that's on the good side of things, not the like, oh, it's really all downhill from here. You'll never enjoy your life ever again.
See, I like that. It's that's what they don't tell you, right? So the parents are always trying to give you things to make your life easier, when in the real world, they want to sell you an 85-inch TV for $40 in a parking lot. That's the real world. Other parents, they're just going to hook you up. I think for me, like, I'm not in the negative camp either. Like, it's going to ruin your life. And of course, we both have unique jobs anyway, so we're still doing very much what we wanted to in this world, even with kids. But the one thing that I think people didn't talk about enough is that it is boring. It's just, babies are boring. You think it's going to be all like cute, like giggles and like cuddles and stuff. Oh, you got a cute little baby now. And like the first 3 months are just kind of boring. And then once they can smile and laugh a little bit, it gets a little bit more fun. They sleep a little bit more. But you know, a lot of the first 6-8 weeks, it's just way more boring than you thought it would be, because they can't do a whole lot.
Yeah, you find yourself asking, like, is it okay that I don't think this is that cool right now? Because there's lots of times where it's just, there's nothing cool about it. Like, once you get past, okay, I'm trying to keep this thing alive by staying awake all hours of the day and night and whatever. It's not really doing anything. It just doesn't change. Every day is the same. That's not super cool. When's the cool stuff start? And am I a bad person for even having that thought? Like, that was a lot of late nights where that's where your head starts to go. And eventually it does. Obviously it gets very cool. But like, the early months in particular,
it goes right. You go from being terrified to just being kind of bored. And then it gets better and it gets fun, and then they get bigger. And you take them to the Rocky Mountains, or you take them to Florida. And then maybe if they're really lucky, buy them an 85-inch used TV from a football stadium.
For $60 in cash.
They don't need to know that.
As long as you brought a very strong friend with you to help.
Bring a growl pal.
Love it. Yes, absolutely. All right. Remember, everybody, you guys are driving the show. You guys send us your questions. If you guys want to know about what's going on, I'll be back, of course, back in the house at the OTAs. Maybe you'll see me on Saturday at the TV sale. I don't know, but you'll be getting more from us. Send your questions to thegrowlerpodcast@gmail.com, and we will get through them and let us know what you want to know, whether it's serious questions or some of the stupid stuff. Or listen, if you really want to accost somebody in a gym, I guess that's just kind of your deal. But I can't guarantee that everything's going to get read, is what I'm saying. Like, that's just kind of, we do have to have some kind of a filter. But thanks everybody for listening, and looking forward. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.